right, so we're back. I just wanted to quickly share this with you. Just an interesting thing. It's called scale drawings is what we're looking at. So I drew a truck over here, okay? So you can see my little truck there. And obviously this is not a truck that somebody could get in and drive because it's not big enough. But when there's something that is much bigger, we can't, it's not going to be the same size, obviously, because we wouldn't be able to draw it. We understand that because we've talked about it in geography. This isn't what the United States looks like. I mean, it is what the United States looks like, but it's not the size of the United States, obviously, or else this would be a lot bigger and I wouldn't be able to hold it up and show it to you, okay? So it's called a scale drawing. It's much smaller than what the original drawing would be. So if I look at my truck that I drew and I measure it, it measures 6 inches. Okay, and obviously we know that unless it's a Matchbox car, there's no truck that's going to measure just 6 inches. But what a scale drawing does is it will tell me a scale about how, what I'm looking at, how long it would actually be. So if I wrote 1 inch equals 2 feet, that means that every inch that I measured for this, it's equal to, in real life, in reality, it's 2 feet. So how many feet would this truck be? Yes, you guys already figured that out. It would be 6 times 2, which equals 12 feet, okay? Because every inch equals 2 feet, so we would measure everything times 2, because 6 inches times 2 feet times 2 equals 12 feet. So in reality, this truck would be 12 feet, but when I'm looking at it here, it's just going to be 6 inches. So the same thing would be done on a map. You look at a map and it gives you a small, area, and it tells you this area is 500 miles. So you know, okay, this inch is 500 miles, but it, obviously that's not in real life going to be that long. But when you go on that trip, so from here to here on my map, that's 500 miles. If I do this and this it's going to be, okay, now we're at 1,000 miles now, and you can figure that out on a map. So I just wanted to bring that to you. It was part of today's lesson. So I know it's not like on our page today, but I did want to bring it up because it's something that we have talked about in map skills, and I think they wanted to review that with you. So just an important thing to note. Page 269, and the first thing that you're doing is your divide and check. Should look a little bit familiar. You're welcome. Okay, so work on that divide and check very carefully, letters A and B. Then all you're doing is rounding your answers for section 1. Section 1A, letter A. For section 2, you're rounding that answer up or down. Remember, we have to look at our cents. 50 and over goes up. 49 and under goes down. Same thing with letter B. You're comparing letter B in section 1 and writing the rounding in section 2, letter B. Then look at section 3 carefully, measure the lines. How much longer is the green line than the blue line? So measure the green line carefully, measure the blue line carefully, and then write your mixed numbers. There's your hint, mixed numbers. Down and subtract them to figure out how much larger one is from the other. Okay? Think carefully. Then solve the story problems. So Aubrey and Nathan have 9 boxes of building blocks. There are 786 blocks in each box. How many blocks do they have in all? So you're going to take the number of blocks in each box, 786, and you're going to do what? You're just going to multiply it by 9, and that's going to give you your answer as to how many blocks. Okay, and make sure to write blocks on the line so that I know that you're labeling properly. Letter B, I want you just to look at this carefully. Ethan and his sister Samantha have each saved $17.48. What does that mean? Doesn't mean that they both together saved, 17. No, each one of them saved that. Okay? They put their money together. So that shows that each one of them saved the exact same amount. Okay? They put their money together and used 1/4 of it to buy a game. How much did they spend on the game? So the first thing that you're going to do is put their amounts together. How can we do that? We're 3rd grade. What do? Multiply. Multiply by 2. And that will give you how much money they had when they pooled their money together. Then they spent 1/4 of that. What do we do now? Divide by our 4, our denominator. Very, very good. So I want you to do that. That's dividing with money too. So make sure to have your decimal point and put your dollar sign so you'll have that. Then section 5 is simply write the answers. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or multiplication, excuse me. You know these. Work hard and think carefully. If you're not sure, then go back to those division and multiplication tables, because you guys know your 7 and 6. And if you don't know them, you have to go through them, so you'll get those. Then you're finding the fractional part of the whole numbers. So some of your answers will be mixed numbers, but not all of them. So some of them will be even, but there are others that you're going to have to write as mixed numbers. But then I wanted to look at section 7 to make sure we got that down. Section 7, write the times. So you're looking at what time it is for the very first clock, but then on the second clock, you are writing in and drawing in 1 hour later. So from what the time was for the first clock, did I just tell you? I hope not. Anyway, I don't even know. Whatever the time is on the first clock, you write 1 hour later on the second clock. But then on the third clock, it's going to be 1.5 hours after the second clock. Okay, so whatever the time is for the first clock, an hour later for the next clock, an hour and 1/2 later, 30 minutes later on the next clock. That makes sense? Okay. If it doesn't, have your parents let me know and I'll talk you through it. Then your brain booster, reduced to lowest terms. Oh, they have huge numbers now, but it gives you a hint. Think of the 11 division table. That makes it a little easier, right? Then there's the homework section. All I want you to do is section 1. You don't have to do section 2. I know that's not much, but I do want to make sure that we're getting these measurement equations. One of the last times that I saw them, we were still struggling a little bit with them and not doing our boxes and our numbers 1, 2, 3 right under the boxes correctly. So just do section 1 for the homework section. That's all. Okay. So work hard on this page. I know you've got it because you're smarties. Do your best. Good job. See you soon.